Hi, good afternoon, and it's lovely to be back again. 3 videos, wow. The video I'm going to post up now, I decided to look at decks that I consider to be the gentler decks in my collection. Why do I call them gentler decks? Because they're cards or decks that give you readings in a more subtle manner. Unlike, for instance, the Deviant Moon or the Murder of Crows, and I'll be doing another video on the Kick Up the Butt decks later on. But this is looking at gentle decks, the sort of deck that gives you that sort of proverbial hug when you need it, that little bit of advice without saying, listen here, you gombeen, you know. This tells you, come here, let me have a whisper in your ear. Okay, that sort of gentleness. And it is one that you consider like a close confidant. Okay, now these decks that I'm going to show you are not inclusive of my workhorse decks. My workhorse decks are 3 specific decks that I use to read for other people. I don't use my collection here to read for others unless I'm drawn to it, which is very, very rarely. So I'll just take those headsets down there, using my lamp as a headset stand. Pop them there. These decks are ones I use for myself. They're part of my collection. I like them because of the type of art, the colour, the way that they're presented, and the gentleness of them, to be quite honest with you. Now, I have 2 decks here that are by the same artist, and 2 of them are by Tourian. So because I have 2 of her decks, we'll start with those. The first deck that I'm going to show you is the Tarot of Echoes. Okay, that's Tourian's Tarot of Echoes. I love this deck predominantly because of its gentleness, and that's why I love each of these, but they seem to draw you in. So there was a couple of cards that I was looking at here, and the 7 of Pentacles, harvesting the crops he's worked hard to nurture and, you know, reaping the rewards from his work. You know, sometimes we see our 7 of Pentacles where the person is leaning on the hoe and looking at the pentacles, looking at what's growing. But here we see the harvesting, and there's almost a meditative look on his face that he's done the work, nature has done its work, and now this fruit is ready for the picking, is ripe for the picking. And it's almost a peaceful satisfaction, not a smile, but a meditative thank you. Okay, thank you for the hard work he's done, but thank you to Mother Nature for providing the food. You know, there's this beautiful feel to the deck. Here I have the Page of Wands. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole deck. I'm just going to show you a couple of cards from each deck. The Page of Wands, and we know wands like following your passions, burning desires, you know, achieving what you want, you know, in life, following what you want, speed, passion, everything that goes with that. And the Page of Wands, normally we see our page, you know, heading off with his rod, and a few little buds growing and leaves appearing on the rod, about growth and about improving oneself. But look at the passion in this. The Page of Wands, dancing, pursuing her passion, putting everything into it and bringing her passions alive. Telling you, if you were to read this, go ahead and be you. Do what your heart desires. Playing the tambourine, there's music, there's dance, there's nature, barefoot, you know, in contact with that beautiful earth. It's just so passionate. I feel that this is a very passionate deck. What I like about the 4 of Wands in this deck, usually again we see the 4 wands sort of like a bridal tent almost, people walking through. This gives us a close-up of the couple. Look at the passion, look at the freedom. it's not like these are in a big wedding party here per se, but they're enjoying the togetherness. They're enjoying what their future holds. Look at that. You can actually feel the passion between them. Okay. Now, our Nine of Swords I'm going to show you here is because it's one of the what do we call it? The darker side of the tarot deck. You can get from this card more, I feel, than you can get from the traditional Nine of Swords, because look at this. There's a gentleness to this deck. This person is taking cover within the folds of a flower, within the petals, and you can see the things that are haunting this character are around her in the form of those ghosts. But look, this character's on her own. There doesn't appear to be an outside influence that's bothering this individual other than what's going on in his or her head. Okay, you can see the darkness, the smoke, the mistiness and the cloudiness of the brain, but this one to me is as though this person is taking time out in nature to deal with the issues that are going through her mind or his mind. You know, curled up in nature, having a think, being protected by nature, because nature there's got this person held in almost, you could say, the palm of its hand, and is easing out those demons, ridding those demons, taking time out to think, to realise that things are not as bad as they seem. It's what daily pressure, grind and stress puts in your mind. And when you sit back and you allow these demons free, you meditate, you take your time out, you don't allow it to create those nightmares. And that's what this is happening here. It's also like she's expelling them, okay, and bringing herself back to a level of that she can cope with. Let's have a look. There was another one I wanted to show you here, which I found was amazing. Let me just find it here. And then this is the Five of Swords. Now, usually the Five of Swords, we see somebody with their sword having defeated 4 other people in a battle. And we know that, you know, when we're looking at that card is saying, look, yes, okay, you're going to win this particular battle, but be wary that you do not win at all costs, that you don't use devious tactics, because it will come back to haunt you. Whereas this one, what I like about this one, because sometimes when we get that Five of Swords, we think, yeah, but I can't think, I haven't been in battle with anybody lately. But look at this. There's our Five of Swords, the 5 fingers of a hand stretching down to this king's head. Now, it's unusual that you'd see a king in the Five of Swords, but let's look at this a little closer. This is battling with his own thoughts. Does he go ahead and do what's on his mind? Does he revisit it, hash it out? Does he speak to others? This is this man thinking, contemplating, and saying, think before you use any strategic move, because anything you do could come back and have repercussions that you don't want. Think it through. Yes, battle with your own thoughts and emotions. Write down the pros and cons. But look before you leap, before you take those steps into any form of battle. This is a battle with oneself, one's mind, one's ideas, one's intuition, you know. Sometimes we query our own intuition. Is it right? You know? So those are cards from the Tarot of Echoes by Tourian. And it is a beautiful deck. I highly recommend it. There's a second deck of Tourians here that I am looking at today, and it's the Tarot of the Abyss. Now, this one is not full of colour, as you know how much I love colour. This is in the sort of cream and black, okay, buff and black type of thing. It's sort of ink drawings. Look at this here, look at this for the awakening, okay, it's like judgment. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? It's beautiful. But One could say, God, that's sort of demonic looking. No, no, to me, this is your guardian angel coming down to you as you're lying prone on the ground and saying, come on, get up. Let me help you. Let me give you this helping hand. Because we need to reassess this situation and find out exactly where we need to change. What do we need to do to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves down, and continue on? Do we continue on the path that we're currently on, or are we going to find ourselves in a loop of continually making that same mistake? Or do we look at ourselves, chat to our guides, guardian angels, or whatever being you believe in, and if you don't, with yourself, and say, look, this path didn't work. Time to make a change. Okay? Our Five of Pentacles here really does have that desperation vibe to it, but desperation vibe in a way where this help. Bear with me while I take a quick sip of coffee. That'll be the last sip. It's gone off warm. So this Five of Pentacles here, yes, it does look like the darker card that it is. But what do we see in here that we don't see in our traditional Five of Pentacles? We see a helping hand come to the door. I do not feel that that is similar to, should we say, the nativity story where people are turned away from the inn. This is somebody calling them back. Look, or people in the windows at the top are already being helped. There's help there. We've got the five pentacles there. Come on in here. It's almost like a guiding star. This is where you will get help. Look up. Ask for help. Do not carry your burdens on your own. Even the death card here, this death card I find is quite amazing. Look at that. Albeit we've got what could almost be described as the banshee coming up here. That's how I view this person, the banshee, the long hair and the pointing finger and saying, yes, I'm coming for you. Yes, change is coming. But look where that change is coming from, okay? In the background here, we've got hills and mountains. We could also have water in the background. We've got trees and growth, but look what's in the root of our tree. We've a skull, okay? So the change is occurring, but from that change, new growth, a new way to deal with things. Change doesn't come when we always want it, and this, you know, could be sort of, wow, I wasn't expecting that one, and it can make you feel like the skull at the bottom here, but the new growth, getting up into that tree. This is the banshee warning you, change, stop letting this happen, change, or this is where you're going to be, and starting all over again. I just love the stick. Now there is another card in here. Let me just see if I can quickly find it. If I can't, we'll come back to it another time. Let's have a look. Got to be here somewhere. It's one of my favourite cards. Oh, that's also a favourite one of mine. I'll come back to that in a second. Where are you? Come on, my beautiful cards. These cards are just, there is so much to them. The art is beautiful. It's clever. The art is clever. You can feel the passion in this. Again, well, it's Anna Tourian's art, so it doesn't surprise me, because by the looks of her cards and other work that she's done in the past, you can actually feel her passion that she's put into this, because a lot of thought has gone into this. You know, if you look at the Ten of Swords, you know, it's this, I think there's two Ten of Swords in this deck. You know, there's a lot to be read from them. But this particular one that I want to show you now is, you watch, it'll probably be the last card in the deck. Come on, where are you? Sorry for not having this sorted out beforehand, but you know me, I come on, I do a video. Second last card, here we are. This is just beautiful, the Ten of Pentacles. Look at that Ten of Pentacles. Normally we see our Ten of Pentacles there with people helping each other in the background, but this is so passionate. This is, yes, there is help if you ask for it. Reach up, grasp. Look at the vine we've got growing through the tree, the housing, the people, the ladders climbing up and up and up because of the support and love we have for each other. The helping hand we stretch out to grasp, or the helping hand we stretch out to offer. It's just beautiful. And then when we have our Three of Cups, we sort of have maid, mother and crone. So I would say I'm the mother in this one because I don't think I look as old as the crone in here. And I prefer it looking like, you know, that's the reader of the card. That's our hand. The two looking at us. We have our maid, we have our crone. So we'd be the mother, maid, mother and crone, rather than the three friends. This is like, not only is it enjoying the companionship of other people, of family, whether what age they are, but it's also cyclical, you know, the life cycles, the everything. Just beautiful advice. And it's also with that maid, mother, crone, it has your high priestess vibes. It's just gorgeous. So that is my second deck that I find very comforting. This deck I actually have taken with me to the woods to read with. You've heard that story many a times. I won't repeat that now. Another deck that I'm going to show you is the one that I used yesterday. I won't go through too much. This is the Unfolding Path Tarot. And here we go. As I was saying about colour, I also like the way that the edges here are they're not uniform. It's, you can see the painting, you can see the colour, you can feel the energy from the way that the paints have been put onto the page. It definitely looks like watercoloured backgrounds to me, and they just give the cards a happier vibe, you know. I like this world card actually. It's more down to earth in my opinion. It's like somebody has achieved, they're happy, they're dancing, they're surrounded by beauty, and it's just gorgeous. You know, you can feel the dullness of that Five of Cups, that, oh my God, what's gone wrong? But you know, her aura, look at the green around her. She's dark and in a place at the moment, but there's light behind that. All she has to do is lift her head up and look. So this is another deck that I would consider a very gentle deck to use. And that is the Unfolding Path Tarot by Athene Noctua. Now, or Athena, let's have a look. It is a beautiful deck. There are two decks here. Now, these are not in any particular order. I'm just doing these because of the size of the boxes, I suppose. There are two decks that I have here. There are three more decks, but these two that I'm going to show you now, I think the Bright Future is definitely still in print. I think I saw an advertisement for it not so long ago. And this is just modern. It's got a lovely vibe to it. The creator from this is Saskia Lee. And she created this back in, oh my gosh, when did Saskia create this initially? Because I bought this when it first came out, and I did a review on this, and there are two versions. There's this version and there's the version that has keywords on. Now I ordered myself this version without the keywords, and the book, and there's a little cover that comes with it that's actually over here. And Saskia very kindly sent me an extra copy with the keywords on after I had reviewed this deck. What I did with that, I held on to it for a while, and then I call her my little protege, my friend's daughter, who I was teaching tarot to, I let her use that, and then I gifted it to her. So Saskia, thank you for that. If you're watching this, thank you. That deck has been passed on to somebody who's making absolute brilliant use of it. And again, this is like modern life, okay? This is one that fits today's society, you know, is more up to date, is more modern, without it being harsh, okay? It's beautiful and colourful. It's without borders other than where the name is at the bottom, but that's neither a big deal. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, the Three of Swords is one that really did pull me in, because, you know, with the Three of Swords, we usually get our heart with the three swords piercing it. This one is looking at ourselves in a broken mirror, feeling broken, feeling pretty much like that mirror looks, looking at our souls into our eyes through those shards of glass. And it's from there that we start putting those shards together to create a whole once again. When we get to this point, right, this is where we're at. We're broken, we're hurt, life has thrown us some shitty curveballs, but this is where we start putting ourselves back together. Okay, we have our 9 of Cups, typical girls' night out. And so on and so forth. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. I love this Hermit. You've got the Hermit within the Hermit. You've got the Hermit on the Do Not Disturb sign, and that would be hanging on my room door. Do not disturb. So it's very much a modern deck. There was I think it was the High Priestess, which was a little different, and yet it was beautiful at the same time. I'm just going to see if I can find that there. Da, 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 da. Oh, the Ace of Pentacles is possibly my favourite card in this deck. There you go. Love it, love it, love it. And yeah, yes, the High Priestess, the Oracle. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? So the High Priestess in this deck is called the Oracle, and it speaks volumes. There's so much symbolism in this card. You know, it's getting in touch with your intuition. It's meditating. It's looking beyond and allowing, you know, sort of, you've got at the back of your mind, you've got the daily grind, the time, you've got the chores, everything that can build up, but you have that inner knowledge to get on with what's going on around you, to be able to see beyond what there is in your daily life, you know. So this is the Bright Future Tarot, and it's by Saskia Lee, and it's one of my favorites, has been for a very, very long time, or since I bought it. It's on my easy to reach shelf because this is what I use for me, and I'll explain later on how I use my tarot for meditation as well. Actually, that might be another video. Just look through decks that I find give us a hug today. The kind decks, the soft decks, the gentle decks. This one, this next deck, is one that I would think it would be suited to younger people stepping into the world of tarot. It is very pretty, very colourful, and again gentle. It's the Cosmic Cycles Tarot, and it follows the life of 16 characters living in modern society. Watch their stories unfold as they learn through their experiences and meet significant people that would later impact their lives. Martina and Miriam created this. Martina is the author and co-creator of the Cosmic Cycles Tarot. She manages her own online and Etsy store, and the modernized. It's called the Modernized Shop. Miriam is the illustrator of the Cosmic Cycles. Her experience working as an animator and colorist lets her create expressive moments full of color. There's a digital guidebook included, but I never ever went for the digital guidebook. So it's Martina, Razo, and Miriam E.G. Okay, this is the Cosmic Cycles Tarot. I'm not sure if you can still get this. I haven't seen it around. I do believe, I was very lucky when I ordered this, it came to me with no problems, but I do believe there were some issues with people getting their decks. I don't know. But for me, this arrived without an issue. So again, it's not in order. This is something that I would say gift my nieces. This, along with the Everyday Witch, which I did gift to my niece, to one of my nieces, and a Llewellyn Tarot to another, because they were starting out. I don't know if they've carried on, actually. You know, you can see that they're in everyday situations. The Three of Pentacles here. Look at that. Planning, working together, writing music. Sam, shh, no, you're not going into the bathroom. He wants to jump into the bath. There you go. the Hierophant. You know, we have our students and teachers here. We have learning, meditation. I like the fact that modern day themes have been used for this deck. The Chariot. And look at the character's face. You know, you almost know that he's going to be a little bit of a hoon behind that wheel. Something like the Death card in this deck. Again, we're looking at change. Look at that. And it's looking at oneself, looking at changes to make. Okay, so it's very much aimed at younger people. Here we have the Devil card, and this is very much in keeping with modern day society, where there are drink and there's alcohol and drugs, etc., and being chained to the likes of narcissistic people. You know, it's this card sort of kicks you a little harder than our traditional Devil card, because you see this in modern society, and it can make you feel, oh gosh, I need to break those chains that tie me down, you know. The Ace of Pentacles, we all know that feeling. Don't drop, don't drop, don't drop. Someone's won a ball in one of those grabber machines. So that's this deck. This is the Cosmic Cycles Tarot, and like I say, it is a lovely deck. Now, the last deck I'm going to show you, and I do have many other decks that I would consider gentle decks, but these are the standout ones in my collection, and I could not make this video without having this one here by Kristoffer Hughes, art by Nadia Turner, the Bee Tarot. This is just beautiful. When it first came out, I thought, oh, is it for me? I don't know if it's for me. But the more I looked, it's got a lovely chunky book with it. It really does. This is beautiful. And I like here, did the bees understand the mysteries of the Druids? Or did the bees perhaps give them access to those mysteries? You know? And the cards here are just glorious. Here we go. The Five of Jars. So that would be like our cups. And again, it's nature, it's gentle, it's nurture. So a lot of these cards would be a combination of nature and nurture, both together, you know. And they sort of pull out the positive side, and even if you get a reading that could be on the darker side, there's a light and positivity behind it that you can see clearer. So you're not using cards that are too full of symbolism, that are you've got to wreck your brain trying to break through the symbols in order to get your message, because there are decks like that too, which again I'll cover those as well at another time. But these sort of show you images where you can see that there's a way out of things, where you can actually say, yes, I can see what I need to do, or I understand what happened there, and you know, it seems to be more clearer. It's almost like a little bit of a spoon feed, a little bit of honey to take the sourness away, you know. And it's just, all these decks here today, I wouldn't say I would prefer one over the other, because all of them are decks that I would go to when I'm having one of those moments where I'm thinking, oh gosh, what else could go wrong, or is this going to get better? Because I do get those days. I wouldn't be human if I didn't, you know. But with it being nature, and with it being, I love nature so much that a lot of these involve nature, and a lot of them just sort of give you, like I say, we saw the nine of swords with the person enclosed in the flower. It's like the petals are going to hug away the fears, you know. We've got lovers here romping in the grass, and the bees are keeping an eye on them. They're going to make sure that they're safe. The Three of Pentacles here, look at that. It's just, there's a gentleness about it. It's just beautiful. The Five of Pentacles is a little sad here. We've got, you know, the loss of honey, money, food, etc. But they're comforting each other. There's a roof over their head, the window to let the fresh air in, you know, and things will get better. I like this rebirth. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Here we have that Five of Swords, you know. Now, remember I was saying that there's the winning at all costs. If we look here, we've got what looks like a woodpecker actually pecking into a hive. Now, that woodpecker thinks he's winning at all costs. He's going to get that honey, and yes, he probably will, but he's going to get stung to death by those bees around him. So, you know, for actions, there are consequences. And with the Five of Swords, that's what that tells us. For your actions, there are consequences, you know. And I love the Sun card here. So these are my Gives a Hug decks, okay? They're simply quite beautiful. They're just, I'm delighted they're in my collection. They help, they guide, and you know, people say, well, you know, it is only a card, Elaine, and I have had people say things like that. Yes, they're cards, but the creator, the images that they've put in there, what they've written about their card, their own interpretation of the card, and my interpretation and my intuition and my observing, my digesting of these cards make those interpretations personal. And on that note, I want to share with people, I've had people question, you know, not so much question, but ask sort of things, which question, what I do, how I do it, how I interpret things. You know, all of us read tarot very, very differently. There's no set rules. Ideally, it's not a necessity, but ideally for me, this is how I learn. I like to know the history of things. I like to know the origin. I like to know, for instance, the original style tarot. Okay, what were the meanings? Okay, how did they get their meanings? You know, why was a specific meaning given to? I like to know the keywords of the original tarot, and the reason I like to know that is because it gives you a starting point. Okay, it's all right to say, well, yes, tarot, you know, put your own smock on it, that's fine, but sometimes we need just a little bit of guidance. And if you can hold one or two keywords from a card, I'm not learning reams or learning things by rote, but familiarizing yourself with some background, it gives you a foundation on which to build. When you start looking at the cards, yes, I can see where the creator has put that meaning, that why those keywords are there, but that sort of flicks a switch in your mind and you start thinking, and your own intuition kicks in, your own thoughts and ideas. And it's ideal to keep a notebook and write down next to the card. You've got your couple of keywords there that you've sort of managed to hold on to, but then you've added your own, and a book to help you to do this. I thought I'd add this one in here. It's okay, Sam, hold on a sec. Good boy. Is Your Tarot, Your Way. Okay, this is a book by Barbara Moore, and this is not new. I've had this in my collection for some time. Just bear with me. So this is Your Tarot, Your Way. So it doesn't matter, you know, what other people say, how other people read. We each have our own gifts and talents that we can add to the tarot. You know, we can share our ideas, we can help others. When we share, each of us are so different that we build up a deeper meaning for tarot. A lot of the books here, people will say, well, Elaine, they're all about tarot, surely they're all one and the same. Different creators, different authors come with a different viewpoint. Okay, the majority of the cards are predominantly the same, but they add that little bit something extra, and this is what this book helps you to do with your tarot. Tarot guidance with a personal touch. Discover what it's like to receive tarot lessons with a warm and encouraging teacher at your side. Join Barbara Moore as she shows you how to build tarot skills from the ground up and form your own intimate connections with the cards. Tarot Your Way invites you to honour your unique life experiences as you respond to symbols and cultivate a spirit of play. With practical real-life examples, this book helps you to explore tarot as a practice for nourishing your soul and discovering new perspectives. Now, why did I add this to my collection? I added this to my collection because, as you know, plenty of times I've told you, my youngest son is wanting to learn the tarot. He actually works in a hospital, so he has, for the last while, he's had to put it on the back burner because he's works all the hours God sends. But this is something that's on my shelf for him to dip into, also for my nieces who are also going down this route. It's a book that is quite rich in advice and guidance and helps you look at decks, look at a card. What do you get out of that? What does that symbol mean to you? Now, when I see wands, particularly the Ace of Wands, I often associate that with the signing of documents, of my passions, something I want to do. If I'm wanting to go on and maybe do a course, yeah, you're going to be signing documents to do this if I'm asking a yes, no question. Do you know, it's just, and more often than not, it's pretty spot on. And it's just that you will get something out of a card that would be quite different to what I would get, or the person sitting next to you. So never ever compare yourself to other tarot readers. You are unique, and your uniqueness can add so much to this very rich tarot community. Nobody's opinion, nobody's method, nobody's way of doing things, which is method, is invalid. How you learn is very valid. If you find that there's something that suits you and you think, well, do you know something? I could do that, I could share that, do so. Whether it's notes in here or whether we arrange a video chat, you know. It's, this is a world for learning. Tarot is a lifelong learning process. It morphs and it changes with time. You know, let's be honest, what was going on in decades ago, centuries ago, life has changed. Human problems will always be the same, but society, life, technology has changed, and it makes us all change to a degree, you know. And I think when you're doing something like this, it makes you get back in touch with compassion, with having sympathy and empathy. It steps away from sort of that technology immersed society or lifestyle to one of more of appreciation of tarot, your own intuition, your own thought processes, nature, going out there and just spending time filling your well. So that is Barbara Moore's Your Tarot, Your Way, and it's really a lovely tool, an inexpensive tool. This I can't remember how much it was in euros, but it's $15.99 US. Okay, and it's publishes by Llewellyn. So definitely arm yourselves with books like this to guide you along your way if you're quite unsure. Okay, do take care, continue to have a lovely day, and thank you once again for being here. Next time we're going to look at tarot decks that give you a kick in the backside. Bye now.